Swift.
Hello and welcome to Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPNcricinfo Match Day. It's a big one up in Dharamsala. I've got Shane Bond in studio with me as we prepare for the Trans-Tasman Derby. Shane, Australia up against New Zealand, and it's a big game for both teams.
Huge game for New Zealand given their run home. It's a pretty tough group of games with South Africa, Pakistan and Sri Lanka, who are at this day all alive in the tournament. Australia got a couple of games to come, Afghanistan and Bangladesh, who you would think they'd be favourites for. So if New Zealand don't get over the line tomorrow, then it almost puts them in danger of being chased down by a couple of those teams. So big game in particular, I think, for New Zealand.
Yeah, and especially if they look at Australia's run recently. So they started out lukewarm. They're sort of bubbling, and we expect them to get to boiling point at some stage. They've now got more fit players to choose from. Travis Head, we're hearing, will be available for selection. Same with Marcus Stoinis. So how would they juggle the selection?
Well, I don't know whether that'll be a good thing for New Zealand. Travis Head hasn't played for a while, so there's been a bit of toing and froing with the Australian lineup. Talks of Steve Smith moving to 4, and he's already expressed a little bit of surprise that he doesn't really want to bat there. So there's a couple of things perhaps might be in New Zealand's favour there. But Australia also is a team that tends to play well against New Zealand and seem to have the wood on them a little bit. So New Zealand will be wary of that and want to rectify that, particularly if they're a team they're likely to play again in the finals. They'll want to get a victory, especially psychologically. Yeah,
I mean, especially when you consider what happened somewhere like 2015, right? They won a good group game and then good later on as well.
Yeah, I mean, New Zealand won that game, Eden Park 2015. Almost Australia nearly snuck it with 6 for Mitchell Starc, but then we were comprehensively outplayed in the final over in Australia. Were well outplayed in England in 2019. So yeah, New Zealand are playing consistently well, and I think this game is going to be a close game. I think the conditions will suit both teams. It should be an absolute beauty.
Yeah, and maybe the conditions not so much in favour of the spinners, but both New Zealand and Australia have got a spinner right up there in the wicket charts. Is it a bit of maybe Mitchell Santner versus Adam Zampa in a way to see who can perform better?
I think the makeup of the team's so similar. So obviously New Zealand's strike weapon in the middle has been Mitch Santner. Zampa's playing well for Australia. They've got the Maxwell as the off spinner. New Zealand have got Phillips and Ravindra, and then you've got the 3 world-class fast bowlers on both sides. So both teams bat deep. New Zealand got a batting 7 as Chapman. Stoinis may be back for Australia tomorrow, so good batting lineups. So the teams are very well matched against each other and play a similar sort of way and with the pattern that they sort of play. So I think it's just a case of who executes their skills on the day. The only thing for New Zealand is they've played their last game there, so they should have a little bit more of an understanding about conditions, which might help in their favour.
Yeah, and another big matchup, the 2 opening batters, David Warner coming off back-to-back centuries, and Devon Conway, who started off really well, but seems to have maybe flagged a little bit. I mean, maybe that's a bit of a harsh evaluation of him, but how do you see them going? Because they have a similar style of play.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, New Zealand, Ravindra has been the standout now for New Zealand from New Zealand point of view. Obviously, Head coming back in, the 2 left-handers at the back versus 2 left-handers for New Zealand. Key matchup. New Zealand need a good start against Australia, so Conway, Ravindra, or Will Young combinations are crucial. And so, yeah, look, David Warner's playing brilliantly for Australia on a run of games. Mitch Marsh not being at the top, coming back down to 3. Dangerous player when the ball's not swinging, because perhaps Boult, particularly with the new ball, could have caused some problems for him. So, yeah, look, the teams who have done well in this tournament so far have got a good start or an opener who have got big runs. And Australia's success has coincided with their opening batsmen hitting form. New Zealand's loss came on the back of their 2 openers not getting runs, so it's sort of their opening combination, and a partnership in the top 3 is critical.
And let's just go to touch on a point you made there on Trent Boult. A lot of people, maybe even yourself, were predicting him to be the leading wicket taker at this tournament. He hasn't quite got going as we thought. Why do you think that is?
No, look, I think I had Matt Henry as my leading wicket taker, so he's
okay. You're off the hook.
Yeah, I'm off the hook now. Look, I think he's bowling well. I think he is. I don't think there's been the movement. I think we've seen that with a number of the fast bowlers. Shaheen, especially the left armers, Shaheen,
Starc,
Boult haven't quite had the impact. There's a little bit of swing, but it hasn't been prodigious and it hasn't been there for long. I still think that Boult-Henry combination's been a good one for New Zealand. So they sort of feed off each other. Henry's getting the wickets and Boult not so much, but often it can switch around. So the big thing from my point of view is he bowling well? And no one's saying he isn't bowling well, he's just not getting the volume of wickets. So he's that type of bowler that if he continues to bowl well, sometimes the wickets just click into gear. And I'm hoping he'll do that tomorrow.
Yeah, sometimes the numbers don't tell the whole story,
That's
I suppose.
exactly right.
And then just to end off, New Zealand, we visited the Dalai Lama.
They did.
So do you
Yeah.
think that there's some extra special kind of flavour for them tomorrow?
Well, I don't know if they think they need the divine intervention, but I suppose, they always say you want to tick every box in the little 1%ers, so they've gone for that side as well. Yeah, it's cool. I mean, that's the beauty of coming on any sort of a tour, is you're looking for those little bits of extra, take your mind off the cricket, but also that's a unique experience to go and see the Dalai Lama, and I know the guys would have absolutely loved it.
I'm sure they absolutely did. So New Zealand, with maybe a touch from the spirit world or the goodness of what's going on there, in Australia, of course, on a fantastic run at the moment, looking to push to cement their place in the Final Four. That's going to be an exciting game in Dharamsala. You can catch it all here on Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPNcricinfo Matchday.
Stunning looks, then swift,